Hello, Toronto. My name is Bhavani Rao, and I'm coming to you from Raleigh, North Carolina. I'm really excited to be in front of you guys because I'm going to be talking to you about what to look for in your next machine learning pipeline. So having said that, I'm going to start the discussion starting with an understanding of DevOps, because a lot of you are familiar with DevOps because it's revolutionized how software is delivered because of two things. One is the fact that it's a continuous loop. And because it's a loop, we're always being able to do small increments of code, using small increments of code on a regular basis and being able to push that out rather than making big changes that result in harder to fix issues. Having said that, the key behind this DevOps is iteration. So we've been able to carry forward some of these concepts into the machine learning world, but we have two paradigms in the machine learning world, so it's a little bit different than DevOps. Once again, you're dealing with iterations on code, as shown on the right side of this chart, but also you're iterating on the data because we're seeing more productivity improvements by iterating on the data than iterating on the code. So data science can learn something from DevOps. The constructs of code iteration are the same, but we have an entire paradigm of working along trying to iterate on the data pipelines. So what should we be looking for in our next data pipeline? Number one thing we should be looking at is trying to develop versioning of not only of our data, but of our code, as well as of the pipelines themselves. And why do we want to do that? Well, the reason we want to be able to version all that is so we can have full reproducibility. In case there's any particular outcome that we've been able to come up with, we need to be able to backtrack, be able to reproduce that at any moment in time, whether that's for compliance, auditability, or just being able to understand if there's a drift in our model, being able to back up to a certain point in time. Another challenge that we have in machine learning that's not present in DevOps is being able to scale to petabytes. And many people are trying to use Kubernetes as a way to be able to scale. And indeed, Kubernetes can scale at least on the concurrent processing. That is being able to spin up multiple workers to address or do multiple concurrent tasks at the same time. But having the ability to do parallelization would also help as well. In addition to that, machine learning, we have a lot of redundant data. So being able to do automatic deduplication would be of use as well. So regardless of, if you have a lot of data, being able to dedupe your data in the very beginning as you start to do data processing will be a great time saver as well as cost saver, because a lot of people are using cloud compute, and being able to dedupe the data right away will save you in your compute processing times. Also, having the ability to automatically trigger the pipelines. So if we're iterating on the data and we just add increments of new images or some new binary files, we want to be able to just have those pipelines trigger automatically as soon as the data has been added. Or if we get a new image of our code being added, we want to be able to have those pipelines run. Or if we change the way the pipeline is set up too, we want them to run automatically. And lastly, we want to do, actually not lastly, but second to last, we want to be able to do incremental processing. So in the days of, when you're dealing with petabyte scale of data, we don't want to rerun all through the pipeline with old data. We want to be able to just process only the incremental data that we've added. So anything that's been changed is all that we want to be able to address. And that way, it saves us on time, it also saves us on compute costs. And finally, as we expand out on our teams, we have more and more team members working on the same data sets. We want to have one collaborative space where everybody's working on the same data set rather than having multiple versions of the same data set and creating confusion between merge conflicts and so forth. So having a collaborative space where you have multiple people, whether they're in data science, data strategy, data engineers, all working in one area would be fundamentally a huge benefit in terms of us moving forward as an industry. So I hope this was an informative discussion. Please, if you have a chance, come by and check me out in one of our booths. I'll welcome that. Take care and enjoy the conference.